Hi everybody, we're here at Dr. Langley's office, Homestead Direct Primary Care. And today in her office she's showing off 5 veggies you didn't know you liked. And what we're going to start off with first, I made a kale basil pesto. So Miss Langley, Dr. Langley said she doesn't like kale.
I don't like kale.
So I'm hoping by sneaking into pesto that it's not going to hide the kale, because that's one thing she mentioned. She doesn't want to put a bunch of basil, just a little bit of kale, because the point is to be getting our kale into our diet. So I did a lot of kale, and more kale than basil actually. So we have the basil pesto. We have the little toasted bread that you can spread it on with some medley tomatoes, and I just put some salt and pepper, olive oil sprinkled on that, and there's some little mozzarella balls that's supposed to be smaller. They're called cilantro mozzarella. That we have this in little balls. They have some smaller ones that are super tiny that can fit onto the toast. So if you find those are aesthetically pleasing to the eye as well, and make you like the kale because you have cute little mozzarella balls. And then we're gonna shave some fresh Parmesan on top with some fresh baby basil leaves and some salt and pepper if you like. Moving on, we have some chard. I've got the rainbow chard, and let me show you a close-up of that. All I did was simply peeled off the stems.
How big are the leaves when you buy them?
When I bought them, they were pretty big. They were at least this big.
And then you just peel off the...
And so, yes, I peeled off the stems first. I cut off the stems first.
Okay.
And then I sliced them thinly like a celery. And then I added them to the pan with some olive oil, salt and pepper first, because those are going to take a little bit longer than the other pieces.
And like the stem is coming off, you cut it off here? Or
right, you cut it off right at the base.
Okay. So
right
the rib that goes into the leaf,
correct.
That's not a big deal?
We're going to do that. That's going to be the second part.
Okay.
So the first part will be your harder stems. Mm-hmm. And I like cutting off right at the edges, as you do, with your celery, you cut this side, but I also cut the ends and the other end. So all 4 ends, just because that's the fibery piece that gets chewy, and fibery is what it is. So we cut those up, and they look like little celery pieces, and I fry those up first, and then I added the garlic. After that, then I took the leaf stems, sliced those up, added those secondly.
How long do you think you cooked them for?
Maybe 2 minutes at most.
Okay.
Not even that long. Just until you start, when you put that garlic in, your garlic is going to show you when your stems are done. Because when your garlic starts getting brown, it means it's too long.
Oh.
So
before that.
Once you put your garlic in, when your garlic is nice and fragrant and soft, then you're going to add your leaves. When you add your leaves, you just quickly toss enough to wilt, because you don't want, you don't want to cook out all the nutrients. The point of eating the chard. So it's just like spinach. When you wilt it, then you're done. You turn your stove off, you take it off the heat, and then you squeeze over your lemon on top. And that's it. It doesn't need to be... What I like about these veggies, and just for me cooking overall, it doesn't need to be complicated. Simple, light, good, fresh ingredients for your recipes all the time. And so this is what it looks like. Nice and yummy.
And it was rainbow, but now it looks kind of green.
Yeah,
okay.
It was rainbow. Now it's more greeny.
Stay green. That's good to know.
Yeah. And then we have our beets. So I was up at 6 a.m. making these beets because I bought the bigger beets, like the baseball sized beets.
Wow. Why'd you do that? Why bigger or smaller? What's
smaller
better?
Is, for me, when I do smaller is when I want to do slices, because you can eat it nicely sliced, because it's in smaller pieces, as opposed to the baseball. I use that when I want it diced.
Okay.
So
it doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't really matter. No. So when I want to dice, I might just have bigger pieces and it's one cook instead of having several. Because when peeling the skin off the beets, when they come out the oven, it's not nice.
Can you peel them beforehand? 'Cause
you can
sometimes
peel
I'll
them
do that.
beforehand, but what happens is you lose the protection of when you are cutting it into dice. It won't be nice and soft all the way through. You will have that hard side, which was the outside of the beets that you had.
Even if you wrap them in foil.
Even if you wrap them in foil. Because if you think about a baked potato, because I peel them,
Yeah.
when you put them in the oven, and even if you have it in foil, you have that harder outer shell than the inner part.
What if you stick them in like a cast iron pot, something like that? Will that help?
No, just because the outside is
Will
going to
still
cook
get hotter.
quicker than the inside. So that outside is going to have a little harder. It's not going to be like tough. It's just going to be a little harder than the inside will.
Okay.
So the skin actually protects it. So either way, however you like to eat it. Some people want that soft texture, and some people like that exterior, nice little, like not a crunch, but a little firmer texture. And so I had golden beets and red beets. I sliced it and then diced them and just put olive oil, salt, and pepper. As simply and good, delicious beets. You're gonna like them. You just gotta try them. You just gotta try them. Just try them.
And your hands don't look like you murdered someone this morning.
Surprisingly. And then for your Brussels sprouts. The Brussels sprouts, all you want to do is trim off your edges.
Like just the root part?
The root part of it. And you're going to put them in a bowl. You're going to slice them in half. You're going to toss them in olive oil, salt, and pepper. When you put them on you're going to put them on your baking sheet. When you put them down, you want to face them down so that they get that nice color. That's what you're looking for.
You put the cut side
You
up,
put the cut side down. You put the cut
Okay.
side down so that this is facing this way.
the pan.
Yes. So that when you turn them over, you get that nice color. That's what you're looking for.
And
it has an even surface area as opposed to the
because when I cook them the other side, they get all crunchy on the outside. It's not as good.
So facing them down is going to help with that nice chard. And then again, simply salt and pepper. That's all it is. And good olive oil is what you want on that. Make sure you have the olive oil that is light for cooking, and then the extra virgin olive oil separately. There's one that you're gonna, when you turn it around, it says for frying, roasting, sautéing, and the other one is going to say for marinade, salads.
But they're both called extra virgin olive oil?
Some of them do. I did see that. I was like, why are you called extra virgin olive oil if you're meant for frying? Because you're not. It's meant, that's light extra virgin olive oil.
And not like frying like in inches of oil.
Right, that means like over 250 degrees, correct.
Oh, that's the definition.
But there's a difference in your olive oil when you're eating it pure. Like when I put in my pesto, I don't want to put something that is somewhat refined again, because your first press is the one that you can eat, just a spoonful. And then your second one is refined. That's the one you can cook with. So you do want to make sure you have a difference, because
I don't keep track of a difference.
Tummy will tell you. This was meant to cook with, not meant to eat raw. So you want to make sure that you're using the right olive oil when you're using. If you just look at the back of it, it's going to tell you for marinades, salads. That's all it says, marinades and salads. And the other one is telling you for roasting, sautéing, and the different.
Wow.
And then next, we have our squash. So I made these. It's a spaghetti squash. You want the smaller ones if you want like little individual ones, the bigger ones for like a real meal serving. And all you do is when you take them out, you're going to slice it. You wash it first, you slice them, and then you put them on a parchment paper, and you season with salt and pepper.
And this is so cool if you've never seen it before.
Yeah. So all you're doing is when you take them out, this is a little bit more of the front part, so it has a little bit more of the solid mass. But as you get into the center is when you'll find the more noodles per se. but this is a
So noodly.
part of the front part. So you'll have a little bit of solid squash, but it's still yummy. So you take that.
And you roasted this in the oven. Did you have any like foil around it while you roasted it?
No, I just sliced them up and put them on a slice of parchment paper. I then took your brush and brushed them with the olive oil, salt and pepper, and a little bit of garlic powder is what I put on this. And that's it, just a freshly cracked. This is what I use all morning. Freshly cracked black pepper, freshly cracked pink salt. Is what I use for all the recipes. Then you can take whatever sauce that you use, you know, when you're home, your favorite meat sauce.
Or non-meat, right?
Or non-meat. You can also put your pesto, since
Oh,
it's technically
yeah.
noodles. And you want to put it to one side. I put it on this side, but accidentally. But you want to put it on one side so you can see the noodles. And then the space that you created the hole in, you can put your spaghetti and you can serve it that way. So it's somewhat of a presentable, makes the kids want to eat it because it looks pretty. And then you want to, you know.
So your kids can pull it apart?
Your kids can pull it apart. Tell them to put it apart. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
And then they put it to the side. And then you make a little well for them. And then you put their spaghetti sauce and have them do the fresh Parmesan on top. You can sprinkle a little fresh bay leaves on top. And
that's a whole meal, especially if you use a meat
Yep.
sauce.
And especially if I took the biggest squash. So
Right.
especially if you take the biggest squash, one slice is a whole meal. So there you have your spaghetti squash with your noodles, your sauce, fresh parm, and some bay leaves.
Was that really hard to cut through to get
Oh,
the
yeah.
slices? Do you have any tips for that? Just hard.
Do you want me to honestly tell you what I did?
Yeah, what do you do?
I put it on the floor. I took a cutting cloth. I took a cloth. I put it down. And then I put my cutting board just for me to have more leverage because I did grab the biggest one. But you can put it in your sink. That will be more safe. You'll have less of a hand leverage. But you want to use the longer knives to help you get through the whole thing, not your shorter knives. And you can just prevent that by getting a smaller squash. So you can get the smaller squash as well, and you'll have like 2 or 3 of them while you're eating at the serving. But that's what we have today. So yummy veggies that you didn't know you could make something great out of. So I hope you try these recipes because they're delish. And come again to Dr. Langley. Thank you so much for having me. And I hope your patients get to enjoy some yummy vegetables.
Wonderful.
Today.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Now we get to eat.
I get to eat.